Hello everyone, in this video I will tell you the summary and the moral reflection on the book Nặng Gánh Cang Thường by Biểu Chánh. This book was one of the most famous novels in the late 1940s. Among many books of Biểu Chánh, Nặng Gánh Cang Thường stands out as a historical novel filled not only with politics and courtly matters, but with a deep eye of human relationships. Set during the reign of King Lê Thánh Tông, the story takes place in an era when Confucian's edicts governed every aspect of life, and the strict rules of filial piety and social hierarchy weighed heavily upon each person. Within that rigid world, the fate of two young lovers becomes a poignant tragedy of loyalty, love, and duty. The story begins with two powerful families, the household of tướng quốc Thân Nhân Trung and the household of Thái úy Lê Niệm, were once bound by harmony and respect. Their children, Thanh Tòng and Lệ Bích, had been promised to each other since youth. It was not merely an arrangement between families, but the perfect union of a talented man and a virtuous woman. He was intelligent, noble, trained in both literature and martial arts. She was graceful, cultivated, skilled with the sword, and admired for her purity and learning. The two grew up honoring each other with a gentle and sincere affection, and the future seemed bright. But even the strongest harmony can shatter when pride and jealousy enter the heart. During a royal ceremony, King Lê Thánh Tông promoted Thân Nhân Trung for his merits. Lê Niệm, who had long prided himself on his military achievements, felt overlooked and disrespected. In a moment of anger, right in front of the imperial court, he mocked and struck Thân Nhân Trung, knocking him to the ground and breaking his teeth. For a high-ranking official, such public humiliation was unbearable. Thân Nhân Trung returned home with the bitterness of dishonor burning in his chest. Instead of seeking justice through the king or discussing the matter peacefully, he let pride take control. To him, this was not simply a personal insult, it was a stain on his entire lineage. His belief there was only one way to restore honor, blood for blood. Thus, he forced his son Thanh Tòng to avenge his father, insisting that true filial piety must be proven through vengeance, even if it cost his life. This moment marks the beginning of the tragedy. Thanh Tòng respected his father deeply, but he also loved Lệ Bích dearly. How could he spill the blood of her father? How could he destroy the family that had raised a woman he loved? Torn between filial duty and sincere love, he chose a path of peace. He went to Lê Niệm residence not to fight but to reconcile, to explain, to calm the flames of anger. But Lê Niệm, hot-tempered and arrogant, interpreted this visit as an insult. Words escalated, tempers flared, swords were drawn, and in the chaos of defensive strife, Thanh Tòng accidentally delivered a fatal blow in one tragic instant, the young man who only wished for peace became the killer of a royal general and the father of his betrothed. To the imperial court, it was a grave crime killing a high minister. To Lệ Bích, it was a wound deeper than any blade could inflict. Her father died by the hand of the man she loved. To Thanh Tòng, it was a guilt he would carry for the rest of his life. Though he had no murderous intent, he accepted responsibility. He was demoted and sent to the distant frontier. Lệ Bích, torn between filial love and romantic devotion, could no longer return home or remain beside Thanh Tòng. She chose to disappear, living in seclusion, so she would not betray her father's memory nor abandon her loyalty to the man she loved. Both of them, still young, were forced into a life of sorrow because of the pride and rigid thinking of the older generation. Yet in exile, Thanh Tòng true spirit revealed itself. He did not rebel, complain, or sink into despair. Instead, he devoted himself to serving the nation, fighting enemies, leading troops, risking his life. Battle after battle, he proved his loyalty, courage, and integrity. His achievements spread far and wide, and gradually the king began to see that this was not an evil man, but the man trapped in the cruelty of circumstances. In time justice prevailed. Thanh Tòng was pardoned and summoned back to the capital. His honor restored. When all grievances had been settled, the king remembered Lệ Bích, the woman who had lived through endless sorrow, yet maintained her dignity, purity, and filial devotion. Thus the king reunited the two, giving them the peace and happiness they were once denied. The story ends not in death or despair, but in reconciliation and redemption. Hồ Biểu Chánh wrote it as an answer to harsh ideals of earlier literature, that tragedy and death were the only way to preserve Cang Thường, the rigid moral codes of the past. Instead, he suggested a more compassionate truth. Morality should not crush human hearts. Filial love should not demand blood. Honor should not be defended through violence. And true righteousness is found in compassion, not punishment. Nặng Gánh Cang Thường teaches us that when tradition becomes too rigid, it becomes a burden, one that can break the lives of the innocent. But when morality is guided by empathy and understanding, even the deepest wounds can heal, and even the most painful phase can be redeemed. It is a timeless reminder that love, compassion, and justice must stand above pride, vengeance, and rigid rules. This is just a summary that I made it for this story because it is a very long novel from Hồ Biểu Chánh in Vietnamese, and the morality during the time. It's a very deep story, and it's one of the favorite books of my parents in the 1940s. If you haven't read this story, you look for the author named Hồ Biểu Chánh. His novels mostly published in the 1930s. Thank you so much, and I will summarize some of his other novels so you can understand the Vietnamese tradition and culture. Nặng gánh cang thường. So what does cang thường mean overall? Cang thường, the fundamental moral duties that every person must uphold. It represents order in society, harmony in family, loyalty, respect for hierarchy, and the ethical standards that hold the community together. That's the meaning of Cang Thường. The deeper cultural meaning in traditional society, Cang Thường is considered the backbone of the family, the backbone of the kingdom, the backbone of human relationships. If Cang Thường collapses, people believe that the morality decline and society is messed up. Why Hồ Biểu Chánh used the title Nặng Gánh Cang Thường? Because the characters in the novel are torn and burdened by filial piety, hiếu, loyalty to the king, trung, duties between husband and wife, phu thê. The duties become like a heavy weight, nặng gánh, on their shoulders, so heavy that it crushes love, personal happiness, and even justice. Nặng gánh cang thường, the heavy burden of moral duties and traditional obligations. It is both literal and symbolic. Literal, the characters must obey rigid duties even when painful. Symbolic, society forces them to carry a load too heavy for a human heart. Cang thường means an ancient Confucian moral codes governing relationships like father, son, king, subject, husband, wife, and the virtues of humanity, righteousness, propriety, wisdom, and faithfulness. That is a short explanation for the meaning of Cang Thường and how Hồ Biểu Chánh used Cang Thường as a social